That's how you need to read the people who are in your circle now.
I
Because
agree.
if you aren't elevating yourself or they're not elevating you, then you might want to take a step out.
How do you consider a circle though? Like, is a circle by default? Is it a circle by choice? Because a lot of people in my life by default.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
think
do
it's
I include them in my circle, or is that just
I think it's more so both. Let me explain. I think by default we do have people that's in our circle who we're
right,
comfortable being around with,
right,
but at the same time, if you want to elevate yourself,
right?
then you also probably need to bring new people into your circle if the people who's already in your circle aren't trying to elevate at the same time. Because if they don't elevate you or they're not trying to elevate themselves, then how can they help you elevate?
What if you put in their lives that the as a what if you put in their lives as an example for them to witness? Sometimes, like you ever saw something and was like, "Yo, that made me want to do something better," and you weren't there. A prime example: if you see a photographer and you see like some new equipment or something, you like, I'm not there, but because I saw him with it, and it kind of goes to our slogan, you owe it to the world to be the highest form of you. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? I think it goes to that. I honestly feel like if you're being the highest form of you, your frequency is only going to attract people on that's in that trajectory, that level, or in that direction back to the elevators. If we standing outside, okay, it's five people standing outside of an elevator. You push your button, it might be on the second floor. You may be going to the fifth, but somebody may be going to the lobby. So some people may get in, but
Mm-hmm.
the ones who riding with you still going up, and you might get off before they do. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
well, it's a lot of people who I would say used to be in my circle, but they've stepped out my due to me wanting to elevate
Right,
and expand and
right,
to better myself.
right.
There's a lot of people
You'll move.
who
You'll move them out the way.
right, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'll be honest with you, they kind of moved themselves out the way
Agreed.
because we start to not resonate on the same frequency anymore.
Right.
I don't picture myself being better than anyone, but when I start resonating at a higher frequency, I'm trying to connect with you, even though we already connected. I want to put that energy on you, so you start resonating. And but if you're not, then you are going to step outside the circle. It's not that I'm pushing you out there. You just
You
may you
chose.
choose to be
So
out
by
there.
default, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
and
would. So I would define me personally. I would define my circle as the people I choose to have in.
hmm
Because default people gonna come and go, and I honestly think that's just a part of life. It's people come in your life for a season. So the season may be up. It may not even be, or just where they're going. It's just not where you going. Like you may meet somebody who just good where they at, and you're not. So it's kind of, and a lot of times that doesn't. It's not a conflict of interest when it comes to that. Because I'm at a job and I'm like, oh, I'm good, and you like, man, I'm still trying to get. We can still. It's the thing about it is it doesn't boil down to one specific um situation. Like I can't be like, oh, me and you ain't on the same frequency because I want a better job and you don't. My
right,
job just might be good. You know
right,
what I'm saying? I'm just
right.
saying, oh, I can't be like we ain't on the same frequency because I'm in a relationship and you're single. I might just be in a good situation, like and because we still, I think it only applies to the intent that we both have. So if your intent is to be better and mine is, we just gonna feel it no matter what. Even if I
Right.
have a good job, I'm gonna be working on something else, an outside project, an outside job, or a hobby, or whatever. That's gonna still give me that drive to still be growing. All I want to be. I said this is the first day that we started the podcast. I'm like to be around people who gonna grow me. You
hmm
know what I'm saying? I don't want to be around people who not growing. And it oh my God, it's a bad feeling when you're trying to imagine that, man. Imagine you actually trying and everybody else just sitting around. You like, man, why you not? You
I,
don't.
I've experienced that. Like it's
It's a bad feeling, man.
it used to. I would say this. I was about to say something along that lines. Like it's crazy how you can be at a party with your family or your friends, but you
Mm-hmm.
still feel out of place.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like I'm not supposed to be here, and it's not that you don't love your family. My family number one always, but it's just that the topics of discussion, where everybody's trying to go and what they're doing.
But
Like
that's
it's
kind of where I was going with it too. Like, do you feel? In the words of Styles Peter goes, he said, "Blood is thicker than water. Only in certain cases, you need water to live." You learn that in the
mhm.
basics.
Yeah.
And I hear people say all the time, blood thicker than water. I don't know, man. For some reason, I'm like kind of contrary on that, and it's possibly because we was having a conversation outset in reference to how people choose to spend their money, and if we made the scenario, if one person is doing real well and somebody else is not, why do outside people make it seem like it should be an obligation to the person who doing well to utilize their funds to help somebody who's not? And I'm like, it don't always work like that.
And I had a discussion with somebody like that recently, where they had some type of animosity towards this person just
Right.
because they literally just because they got a lot of money and how they carry themselves, and it's not up to them to try to give all their resources to you.
Right.
And this person haven't even hung around this person,
That's
but
another thing too.
they still have animosity for you. Don't know them.
When you're on the outside looking in, but I used to hear that all the time, and you'll be going through a family problem. And you may have a sister, brother, uncle, cousin, whoever, somebody that's just doing extremely well, and you need something, and it's like because you can't get it from them, like then it's like they take. Because I heard the same people be like, the reason why, that's my favorite so and so, because if ever I need something, I could call him. They don't make him a good
No,
person.
that ain't a
just
good
make you
person.
a fucking leech.
There's a
They
freeloader,
your crutch.
coattail.
They your co-conspirator.
Yeah.
They're your enabler. They make them an enabler. That's all.
Riding their coattail. That's
Yeah,
all.
man. I never me personally, man. It's just sometimes people call it pride, but it's hard for me to ask people for help.
Yeah, the same thing with me.
Gosh.
It is. I actually told my dad that, like, when was the last time I actually asked you for help?
Right.
It's not saying that he can't.
Right.
It's just that I feel like I'm in the situation, and I'm at the age where I got to deal with it on my own. I got to figure this problem out.
Because you're not a king if you can't come out of things you put yourself in.
Exactly.
Wondering why nobody helping. Kings
Exactly.
Shout out to Nasir.
I'm telling you.
It's crazy. Like if you can't, and then I gotta give your dad his props, because he said his daddy told him something. He said, "Don't ever put yourself into something you can't get yourself out of."
Yeah.
I know. It's certain sayings that he done told me that's always gonna stick with me. That's one of them. Don't put yourself into. Now there's times where life just gonna happen, sickness, death, life.
We always come off hard
birth of a
times.
child, you know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be times to where, and it's crazy because one thing I've learned and where my faith has been strengthened is knowing that I would say maybe like 90% of the time when I was ever in need, my help never came from where I thought it would, and I trust in that now. Like
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, somebody's gonna be put in place. And
Right.
that comes from vibrating on high frequencies of people who can understand what you're going through. When I was out of work, COVID-19 put us out of work, and I had several customers that was still sending me money every week as if they was getting a service. And I was so humble. I didn't know what to tell them. I felt so bad sometimes. I was like, thank you. I really appreciate it. Like I'll be in the line at the grocery store, and my, cash app would just go off, $50. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, like why you doing this now? Like, nah, I really appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And gratitude, I understand that gratitude will take you further than anything, and that's like you got to be real cautious of what you're doing in your current state, because it will follow you in the future.
It would. Like if people see you doing good, and you basically trying to better yourself, you're trying to raise your vibration, people will notice it. They don't have to know your situation. They can just see you and how you move. They can feel
There's
that.
a survey that said you're quicker to get your tire changed by somebody else than somebody see you trying to do it 1st. So, if you're outside, I've been in situations where I was outside just, trying to figure something out, and say, man, you need some help, because they can see that you're trying. It's a different, and then you have some people who just look for aid.
Yeah.
They asses, they look for assistance.
Man, it's been years. Like there's certain people, I would say, in my circle, even though I guess they're not hanging in my circle. They're in my circle when I invite them in.
Right.
And I don't give them money anymore, because it's like I've told you what you have to do. You know what you have to do. And the one thing I hate people to say is that, oh, I'm gonna pay you back, man. I got you. I'm gonna pay you back. and you don't hear from them. And the next time you hear from them, they asking for more money. Like, like what happened? You already owe me money. What you asking me for?
Yeah, I've had people. Yeah, man. It's and that's one of those things, and I don't even. It's crazy because I see how that could that just it put a blemish, it put a stain on a situation. Like even if it's ever to the point of where it's just weird. And then also, like, have you ever been asked for a favor by somebody and you wanted to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Like someone like, oh man, yeah, it ain't really like I'm like, oh man, it's
Yeah,
nothing. But
no
then some
problem.
people you be like, man, it's just a burden.
Yeah,
I have
we
phone
all got
calls I
that.
do not pick up because I'm like, I know you want something. I already know
Mm-hmm.
you want something. So it's like, and then it may be calling sometimes. I'm like, man, 90% of the time when you call me is for my services. For I be some people don't even want to think no more.
And it's their fault that you think that way towards them. Like
Right,
you're becoming a burden in my life, and I already got enough burdens to deal with. I already got
right.
so
My
like
life is enough.
you're right.